Every breath you take.
Every Breath You Take by The Police is a masterclass in music production, and starting with the drums, it may come as a surprise that this was not a drum set performance. This was a series of overdubs played by Stewart Copeland on top of this drum machine kick drum pattern. For the snare overdub, it's a snare drum and a Tama Gong drum played together and recorded on separate tracks. And here's what the snare drum sounds like. And the Gong drum. And here they are played together. Now those two tracks were set up with microphones close to the drums, but there was a third microphone set up in the recording room away from the drums, or what they call a room mic, which captured the sound of the drums inside of the recording space, which was blended in for the final sound. But this is what that room mic sounds like on its own. And when you put those three tracks together, you get the signature snare drum sound of Every Breath You Take. There's also a track of overdubbed hi-hats. And in the middle of the song, which we can call the bridge, those hi-hats stop playing, and on this separate track is overdubbed ride cymbal. And also on the bridge, on a separate track, are these crash cymbals played with mallets. And when we play all of these drum tracks going into that bridge section, you'll hear that it sounds like a drum set performance instead of a series of overdubs. Now, there are actually 3 bass tracks on Every Breath You Take, and here's the main driving bass part. Now the second bass part is playing a different rhythm, and it's mixed a little bit quieter than the main driving bass part, but it is providing a subtle secondary momentum. Now the third bass part is not a bass guitar, but it is a synthesizer, and it's doubling what the first driving bass part was doing, except it's an octave up, creating a cool little subtle texture. And when you play those 3 bass parts together, it sounds like this. The arpeggiated electric guitar part of Every Breath You Take is arguably the most signature sound on this recording, and they printed to tape the sound that you hear, which is a combination of compression, some delay, and some chorus. Now they doubled that electric guitar part, which means Andy Summers played the part twice, and in the mix they panned one of them towards the left and the other guitar towards the right. And when we switch here between what it sounds like with just one of them to both, you'll hear how much more wide and atmospheric it sounds. When we get to the bridge, those arpeggiated guitars switch to sustained chords. Now those guitar strums are enhanced by another set of guitar strums, but these have a different timbre or sound. And when we play all of those guitars together, the sound is massive, and there's no denying we're in a new section of the song. And also in the bridge is this piano line. And that piano line is cleverly doubled with this electric guitar. And at the end of the bridge, that guitar track is the source of this little harmonic that you can hear. After the bridge, and maybe we should call this the post-bridge, we have these low piano notes. And when we add this piano overdub to the one that started at the bridge, because that one keeps playing through this post-bridge part, kind of like the drums, it sounds like one piano performance. There's also a synthesizer background part that sounds like strings, and it's interesting to note that this is a mono track. They could have easily made it stereo or doubled it, but my suspicion is they kept it mono because it's easier to pan and doesn't take definition away from the other instruments in the mix. Now this so-called post-bridge section goes into another B section, or the "Oh Can't You See" part, and it's interesting to point out that the Police were known for their syncopated rhythms, their mastery of rhythm together on their instruments, but it applies to their overdubs as well. And here we have the synthesizer line and this piano part, and without any reference to the beat, the piano part is playing this dotted rhythm that on its own kind of sounds odd. And when we add Steen's vocals to this part, they establish where the groove is, and that piano part doesn't sound so odd anymore.
Oh, can't you see? You belong to me. I'm a poor heart aches with every step you take.
And to further emphasize this idea that the Police were as syncopated in their overdubs as they were with their instruments, is to go back to the bridge for a second and listen to how the guitars and the piano interlock together. And when we add Steen's vocals to the bridge, you'll hear that not only are those parts interlocking with each other in a cool way, but they're creating space for Steen's vocals to be heard.
Since you're gone, I've been lost without a trace. I dream at night, I can only see your face. I look around, but it's you I can't replace. I feel so cold and I long for your embrace. I keep crying.